Okay, I get up at
It's
4,
not
so
gonna match up.
that's fine with me.
3 a.m. No.
Except Tuesdays and Thursdays.
There's pretzels back here, if you guys want pretzels.
Okay.
Alright, so I'm going to start here. So welcome to our dining room service training. So this is for all dining assistants across the board, east and west, so that wherever you're working, we all have more consistency in our dining rooms regarding service, our knowledge of menus or timing of dining. And so this is a 13-week training program. We're condensing it into 7 weeks, and it comes from Compass Group, or specifically Unidine, which is who your managers work for. So Daniel, the director, myself, and then Tate, our executive chef, we all work for Unidine. We're hired to come into Landis Homes and give this exceptional service in our dining rooms and kitchens, and this is what we're presenting to you all right now, okay? So on page 2 here, there's just a quick little note, specifically like to the directors, managers, culinary and supervisors, and department heads of Landis Homes. So we are pleased to present you with a comprehensive guide to service training in your communities. It is our goal that the service levels rise to the best in class through consistent and thoughtful trainings with your team members. Please know that during this course of training, there may be a specific module or week that does not necessarily fit your area. And if that's the case, just use your professional judgment to determine if there are materials that we might not have to include in this for your dining room. And we ask that we will have a special reward for you all. We'll be giving you a certificate for completing this training, and there's talk about some other things because this is a really big deal, and this is what we want to do. So this is today on Thursday, but going forward, it'll be every Tuesday in this room from 2 to 2:45 or 3:30 to 4:15. And as best as you can be here in person, it's better because each week builds upon the previous week. And then the ultimate goal is at the end. So if you can't be here, we do have this session recorded, and we will present it to you before the next session. So if you absolutely cannot make it, we do understand, but it is supposed to be interactive, so it's not just us telling you what's going to happen. We want to have this feedback and hear from you what's going on in your dining rooms, in your kitchens, okay? So first you can go to page 3. Okay. And we are going to be talking about the introduction to service. So magic doesn't happen by accident, okay? The purpose of this training is to improve customer service, is to provide all team members with the knowledge and resources to be successful, and we want to build consistency, again, in our service and across all areas of campus. The goals of this training is to become proficient in all areas of service. We want to develop knowledge of menus and the hours of operation. We want to clearly demonstrate service excellence. So again, there's 13 weeks here. It's being condensed into 7 weeks. Today we're going to do Module 1, Introduction to Service, and then Module 2, which is Daymaker, okay? So we're going to go to the next page. It's 2 pages, page 4 and 5. We're going to talk about this SHINE model. It's S-H-I-N-E, okay? So it looks like this here. So we are going to take turns reading each of these. So how about Tammy, can you read what sincere means?
Be genuine and welcoming, show enthusiasm and concern, greet each customer with the 3 steps of courtesy, smile, eye contact, and address professionally.
Okay, great. So that means that you're going to ensure a great first impression. So step 1, we're going to provide professional service and display enthusiasm to serve. So when you're in your dining rooms, we want to go that extra mile, show that enthusiasm to them. Step 2, I show concern for guests and my peers. So in your dining rooms with your residents, if they have issues, we want to address those issues. Say, hello, Mr. So-and-so, I understand your concern, your issue, I hear you. Yes, I can fix it for you. Sometimes you might not always have that answer. So your next step is to see your supervisor and manager and get that answer, okay? Step 3 says, I take pride in my appearance, my work area, and being positive throughout service. So we'll go more into detail about appearance and work areas, but when we come to work, we have a certain dress code. We have an idea of what our work area should look like, the cleanliness standards of it, and then again, being positive, okay? So Jane, can you read what helpful means?
Be attentive, accommodating, and anticipate, provide caring service. Be knowledgeable and take ownership.
Perfect. So Heather, can you read the rest of that?
I provide hospitality that guests can count on. So step 1, I use all resources to serve each guest. So everybody's provided the proper resources to provide for our residents. So just make sure you're using all those resources, and if you need anything, go to Kara, Lily, myself, and we will assist you. Step 2, stay flexible and solve problems completely. If a resident says, I want mustard with this, it's not, we don't have mustard today, it's let me do my best and try and find some mustard. I'll be right back, come find a supervisor, cook, Lily, Kara, myself, and we'll do our best to find mustard for that resident. Step 3, I take initiative. Just act caring, be there for the resident, listen to, what they're saying, be attentive, and so on and so forth.
Yulia, can you read what inspiring means?
Be a role model for your guests and peers. Be consistent, show respect and honesty.
Okay, great. Lily, can you read that?
I provide exceptional service to exceptional customers. Step 1, I demonstrate consistency in delivering service. So just making sure your service to your residents is consistent. Make guests feel special by showing care, respect, and appreciation. Like ask them how their day is, how their food is going. Just have a nice friendly conversation with a resident and just showing them respect and appreciation. I follow the proper steps of dining room service every day with every guest. So make sure you are following all the proper procedures for dining room service, and how to serve, and doing your meals by step, like appetizer first, then your dinner, and then your dessert. And we'll be talking more about that as we go on.
Perfect. Thomas, can you read what nourishing means?
Be a goodwill ambassador and reflect a positive image.
Perfect. So we want to make every moment count. Step 1, you want to serve the residents by being alert, attentive, and receptive to their needs. Step 2, I anticipate and create positive, memorable emotions that build loyalty. So that's your chance to go above and beyond with the memories and everything that you're going to create that experience for them. So these residents come every single day, every single meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. What can you do that specific shift to make it above and beyond and extra memorable? So like I told the last group session, when I was working in Disney, for example, I did an internship there. They had a very specific role called Magic Maker. And that role was to go above and beyond. So you call out one person and you give them an extra smoothie for the day, or you take their kids and do hula hooping or something like that. But just think about that when you're working in your areas. Find those residents and go that extra mile. Compliment them on what they're wearing, or talk about their pet bird that's sitting on their shoulder in the west side of campus. Okay, so doing those memorable emotions and build out loyalty with them. And then step 3, find creative ways to say yes. Okay, and then how about Insum? Can you read engaging?
Be friendly, have a sense organs, always put on the force extra effective.
Okay, perfect. Heather?
I acknowledge every guest and build relationships. So step 1 is you welcome the guests, you thank them for coming, and call each guest by name. So if you're serving that resident every day on a regular basis and you know their name, you address them by name, it makes them feel important, that we're there for them, and that's our ultimate goal. Step 2 is I focus on their requests and preferences, and I check back periodically to ensure their satisfaction. So just checking in with them after you serve them their meal, making sure that everything's okay, cooked right, if they need anything else, to make their experience the best, just check in with them and get that done. Step 3, I employ proper etiquette and demonstrate a willingness to serve. So when you're going to serve someone, you know, have good posture, have a smile on your face, and just be positive. That'll give us the best results.
Perfect, so we're gonna go to page 6 and 7. These are the 11 steps of service that we're going to be learning, and these will be getting brought back to throughout the weeks as we go through this, okay? So the first 3 steps here, they're gonna do a little demonstration as well. So the first step, it says greet and seat. So you wanna say, hello, Mrs. Smith, how are you this evening? How are you this morning? And we're gonna talk about the 3 steps of courtesy later on in the training. And ideally you wanna greet your guests within 2 minutes of being seated. So as soon as they sit down, 2 minutes pass, that's your cue. Go in, hello, how may I help you? You know, welcome to the Birch Dining Room and all of that. Okay, so let's see an example from Heather and Lily.
So hi, Miss Lily. Welcome to the cafeteria today. Well, in my setting, it would be a cafeteria. In Lily's setting, it would be a dining room. And then, may I offer you any beverages and take your order?
Yes. May I get a Coke, please?
You sure can.
Ice water with lemon.
So you would go get that, bring it back, serve starters, so your salads, appetizers, things like that. You're gonna serve with your left hand and from the left side of the resident. So you would serve this starter that way. The next step is to clear the starter, and we're gonna clear with our right hand and from the right side of the resident. So you serve from the left and you remove from the right. So when you're serving from the left, you're using your left hand, and when you're removing from the right, you're removing with your right hand.
I'm going to chime in quick. Does anyone have any questions about steps 1 through 4 that were just shown? So step 1, we want to greet the guests within 2 minutes of being seated. Step 2, you offer the beverages, talk about daily specials, take the order. The biggest thing there is bullet point number 4, repeat the order back to ensure accuracy. That's gonna help a lot with our residents that might struggle with hearing. So say you get their order or they have questions, if you repeat that back to them, that ensures that you both are in that understanding of what was ordered and what the expected outcome is of the meal. And then step 3, again, like she said, you serve with your left hand, clear from the right. Biggest thing, check back with those residents and making sure everything is okay. So you get done serving them. Is your meatloaf hot? You know, would you like more water? Any of those checking back questions. And then clearing, so you clear from the right of the resident with your right hand, okay? And then
Correct.
step 5.
So step 5 is pretty much the same thing as your starter, but you're serving the main course. So you're serving with your left hand, the main course, and then once they're finished, checking periodically, you know, during their meal, if they're okay, then may I take your plate? Are you finished?
I'm open.
And then you remove with your right hand from the right.
Perfect.
So as we move on to the coffee and dessert is the next step. So once everybody is done with their meal, then you ask if you would like coffee or dessert. If they want coffee, they typically, like Lily did, will flip their cup over, but you need to ask as well. When you're serving the coffee, you can serve from the right side because you do not want to reach across them and then burn anybody. This is a safety precaution. So you're going to, you know, grab with your left hand and then pour the coffee and put it down. And then the dessert is pretty much the same. You're gonna serve with the left hand on the left side, remove, right hand, right side of the resident.
Right. So number 7, where it said the offer coffee and dessert. So obviously in some of our dining rooms, the first thing you do is ask them what they like to drink. And if they say coffee and hot tea, you want to get it for them. However, you do want to eventually check back with them. Do they need more coffee and hot tea? Do they need creamer? Do they need sugar, honey? We need to ask those follow-up questions when they order coffee and hot tea. Also, so for Birch and Cedar dining rooms, we are eventually going to be getting with having coffee cups on our tables, drink glasses on our tables. So we will provide that coffee service eventually. So that's why we're going through these steps. So right now, it might not apply to you, but it will be happening in your areas, okay? Number 10, it says assist residents. So assist residents with walkers or other items for a safe departure from the dining space. So that's a big thing. We have lots of wheelchairs and walkers in our areas. As best as you can, try and pull out their chair for them, assist them to the table, help push them in, help guide them to where they need to go back to their, households. Then you want to give them that fond farewell. So that's very important. Say, have a nice evening. I'll see you tomorrow for breakfast, or have a good dessert, your cake you're taking home, enjoy that. And then number 11, we want to clean and reset the table. So we remove any remaining dishes, glassware, and silverware. We want to sanitize our tables. So the biggest thing with that, we need to make sure everything is off of our tables, and then we sanitize. So we don't want to have placemats on our tables, and then we're taking a sanitizer cloth that was in a bucket, and wipe that all down, because that kind of defeats the purpose. You're soaking placemats and getting that sanitizer underneath that can potentially create bad bacteria. So we need to clear everything from the tables and then wipe them down. And then we need to reset for the next guest. So this says with clean linen and dishes. So as of now, we're not using linen specifically on the east side, but again, that is being talked about perhaps for dinner meals or Sunday breakfast. So it is coming. And I know on the west side, you guys have special events. We do have holidays here on all campus, and we do the tablecloths as well, okay? All right, so the next part here, you all should have received menus and hours. So we can start with the menus here. And we can let Heather talk a little bit about these 3. So it's the Dogwood Cafe, Owl Hill Bistro, and the Garden Room.
So the Dogwood Cafe, starting on August 1st, will now be changed to the Gather. So the Dogwood Cafe will change into Gather. On the left side of the menu, you'll see everything in green. That's something that's featured every day, Monday through Friday, 11 to 1:30 for the lunch. Breakfast hours are 7 to 9 a.m. On the right side is the weekly menu specials. And those are changed on a 4-week program, as well as the other cafeterias. So we have the Garden Room, which is on the west side, and they serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. Breakfast is 7 a.m. to 9:30, lunch is 11 to 1:30, and dinner is 4 to 6:30. And we have residents that love the pickup menus, so those are ready for them to be picked up. The Owl Hill Bistro does not serve breakfast, they serve lunch and dinner. Lunch is served Monday through Saturday, 11 to 1:30, and dinner is served 4:30 to 6:30, but only Wednesday through Friday.
Perfect. So one thing we do want to mention with the Garden Room, the Bistro and Dogwood Cafe, on page 8, you see the times listed for them. The Dogwood Cafe, that will be soon called Gather Cafe. We are looking at expanding those hours as well coming up in the next month or so. So we're talking about evening, being open for dinner, being open for the weekends. So just know that is coming. When your residents decide they want to eat in the Garden Room, Bistro, or Dogwood Cafe, it has to be considered like a retail space, like as if they were going out to a restaurant per se. So we can't accommodate the special diets like mechanical soft or pureed, okay? So if your residents want to go there with their family members, they can get charged through their resident account. They can pay with cash or credit card or gift card. anything like that. But they are allowed to dine there rather than the dining rooms, just so you all know, okay? The other menu I wanna talk about here, if you're on the east side, we have our always available menu. So these are going to be posted in your dining rooms, and eventually it will be posted, sorry, right here. It will be posted on the tables as well. Okay, so the expectation is that there's French toast, there's omelets, there's grilled cheese and cheeseburgers, sandwiches, pancakes. We all will be expected to have these in our households and our dining rooms and ready to make them if the resident requests it. So if you don't know how to make anything on this list, please ask a supervisor or manager. I know in the healthcare households, you have the binder with your temperature logs. There are recipes in there for how to do omelets and how to do pancakes and burgers, and we're gonna do more training on that as well. But again, the residents have the right to choose from this always available menu anytime from 7 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., okay? Does anyone have any questions about this? Yes, Jane?
Not about that, but going back to the cafe, what about our lunches, like, we take lunch around 10:30 or, 10:45, and you're saying that the cafe is not open till 11. And I know that's been.
I think ideally, it's not open until 10:30, 11, but we obviously accommodate those that go on their lunch before that. So pretty much, I would say whenever Henry, the cook, is prepared, or Tina, the register person, is out there, they will accommodate.
Okay, I just wonder, I'm like.
Okay, do you have that weekly R menu?
I did hand it out.
Okay, yep, so also on a long rectangular page is our spring summer menu for the east side of campus, okay? And Lily has them. It's coming around. Okay, so this is the example of it. This is our standard menu on the east side of campus. It is a 4-week menu cycle. It lists breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And this is how we create your menus in personal care and health care. We look at this, okay? So it gets changed according to the season. So right now we're on spring, summer. We'll have fall, winter coming up then, and so forth. So if the residents do not like specifically what is on our menu for the day, that's when they can choose the always available menu, or they can go to the bistro or the garden room or cafe, something like that, okay? And then Lily had passed out this meal service time. So again, this really is specific to the east side of campus. But these time frames are very, very important. So on the east side of campus, which is healthcare and personal care, we are inspected by the Department of Health, the Department of Human Services, and the Department of Agriculture. And so they look at these time frames of when we start breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it needs to be followed so that every resident doesn't go a long period of time without having a substantial snack or meal. So that's why it's very important that we adhere to these meal periods, okay?
I will update this. Lancaster starts at 8:45, not 8 o'clock, but I will update these.
What about lunch?
Yep, so Lidditz and Lancaster will be updated. For those that work that household, Lidditz gets served first for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then you go up and serve Lancaster. So we will change that. Yep. Okay, that completes module 1. Does anyone have any questions about what we just went over? No? Okay. Does anyone need a quick break before we go into module 2? Okay. So module 2 is on page 9, and we're going to talk about service approach. So there's 3 steps to this. The first step is a warm welcome. Step 2 is we are going to create the experience for the residents, and step 3 is that fond farewell. Okay. So first we are going to start here. We have a quick video that we would like to show to you, and Willie is going to get on that.
and welcome to the very first episode of All In. I'm Chef Jasmine, as you can see right here on my jacket. And what a perfect segue into today's recipe for success: uniforms and greetings. When it comes to enriching the lives of our residents, service and hospitality are everything. And that includes being friendly and approachable, both in how we dress and how we act. So let's start with the uniform. First things first, your name tag. It's important for residents to know who you are by name because it makes the service more personal. It also prevents, hey, you, with a face. Next, let's talk dress shirt. Keep it neat, clean, and always tucked in. Voila! Black dress slacks. These are always in style, trust me. And don't forget the matching black dress belt. It keeps your pants above the equator where they should be. Non-slip black shoes. The key here is non-slip, because no one wants to end up down there. Not a good look. Black dress socks, preferably 2 of those. And finally, drum roll please, an apron. You can pair this stylish piece with a jacket or a vest if needed. Now, maybe your specific uniform is just a little bit different, and that's fine. But no matter what, always come to work with a name tag, clean uniform, neatly tucked in, and safe shoes. And most importantly, don't forget to wear one of these. Now that smile is the very first of 8 steps towards providing the ultimate service and hospitality. And you'll learn everything you need to know in our guide to greeting our residents. First, you combine that friendly smile with a courteous and caring greeting, such as,
Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. How are you two doing today?
if you don't know their name yet, sir or ma'am will do just fine. Next, ask how many guests they have in their party and gather that big number of menus.
How many people are in your party?
There's 2 of us.
2 of you? Alrighty. Go right on this way.
If the resident has a cane or a walker, help them to their table and be sure to pull the chair out for them.
Here you go. I'll grab this for you here.
Very nice. And be sure to balance the room by seating the stations in order. Now for some light reading material. Present an open menu to the residents, starting with the ladies first. Now, let the residents know who their assigned server will be. Introduce the server by their first name, saying,
And Jerry will be your server today. He'll be with you in just a moment.
within 2 minutes, the server should arrive at the resident's table to greet them, and it's your job to make sure that happens. And finally, as the host with the most, you have the honor of assisting residents with their beverages, clearing the dishes, and anything else a supervisor or a manager might need help with. It's a big job, but I know you're up for it.
Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. It's so good to see you again. Okay. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful day.
Whew, we did it! We learned the recipe for dressing the part with a proper uniform, as well as the correct way to not only greet and seat our residents, but to enrich their experience and their lives. In the next episode, we'll keep this amazing service and hospitality going as we learn the right way to set the table for our residents. I'll see you then.
Okay, perfect. So we're gonna move on to page 10 and 11 in your training booklet. So Lily's gonna start with introducing what is a warm welcome.
Easy ways for a warm welcome. Proud and professional appearance. Good personal hygiene every day. Appropriate dress, clean, neat uniform or other as required. Positive body language. Good posture and energy. Be present, pay attention, aware of what's happening around you, ready and willing to serve, be serve, be of help, and fulfill needs. Alright, page 11, 3 steps of courtesy. Number 1, smile. Always have a smile. 2, eye contact. And 3, professionally greet. Appropriate greeting is like good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Greet by name if possible. Respectful, appropriate is like Miss Appleby or Mr. Johnson. Try not to say hun, sweetie, etc. Introduce yourself, especially important for residents with cognitive issues. Explain what you will be doing. Good morning, Mr. Stone. So glad you are joining us for breakfast. I am Jasmine, and I will be taking your order and serving you today. Positive, sincere, authentic language. Lovely to see you again. It's a beautiful day today. So glad you are joining us this morning. Connect with the other person. Oh, you are wearing blue, my favorite color. I like your tie. That's a beautiful scarf. That is 3 steps of courtesy.
Does anyone have any questions about those items? Okay, so page 12 is next, and we're gonna talk about the key to success, which is eye contact. Heather?
Yes, so has anyone ever heard of the 10-4, the 10-5 rule? No? Okay, so when a resident walks in to the cafeteria, to your dining room, at least 10 foot away, give them eye contact. Make them know that you realize they're there, make them feel important, give them a smile, don't run away, and just acknowledge that they're there. The 4 or the 5, that is when they come within 4 to 5 feet of you, then engage in conversation. They wanna feel welcome, give them that smile, you know, just make them feel important. So what's important about making eye contact? Why do you think that eye contact is first? Eye contact is your first and best warm welcome. Good eye contact shows confidence and the readiness to engage with the other person. It is welcoming, and that welcoming look is even better if we are smiling. Smiling goes hand in hand with eye contact. So they do say to do an exercise with each other on the next page, on page 13, with masks, but we're not required to wear masks at this time, so we're not going to go through with that, but I'm sure we all know what a sad face looks like, what a smile or a smirk looks like, and what a big smile looks like. So, and you know, it's very easy for residents and other people to, you know, recognize whether you're giving them a true, sincere smile or if you're upset for the day. So we just want to give our residents a positive experience in our dining rooms and our cafeterias, so just keeping eye contact and a smile on your face, it'll get the job done.
Okay, perfect. So page 14, so where does this whole experience begin? All of you are the first customer. So really quick, can someone tell me, like, what can we do to help your team? What can the supervisors and managers do? And what could you all do to help the whole experience and the team together? Communication? Yes, I think that's really great. So as best as we together can be a team, that was brought up at our last session as well. Perhaps there's different sections in the dining room and you're assigned to a section to, you know, take care of those tables, but you see your coworker is getting behind and bringing out plates to their tables. So do that communication with them. Say, hey, I see so-and-so is waiting on their plate. Do you mind if I bring that out for them? Or I see Miss Joanne and she's waving her hand waiting for a beverage. Do you mind if I go take care of her? Communication also comes from the supervisors and managers. So if there's things going on that you don't understand or you're confused about, please talk to us. You know, we try and make our rounds throughout the shift. And when we ask you, is there anything you need help with, please don't be afraid to speak up and tell us, because we're not mind readers and our job is there to be a part of the team and give you that support that's needed, okay? Another thing that was addressed at the last session was some residents come out to the dining room way earlier than they should. And so what happens is they're sitting there and staring at you, waiting to be served. So I told them as best as you can, yes, they can sit in the dining room, give them their beverage, but just give them that friendly reminder, hey, we might not be starting, taking orders until 4:30, but yes, you can absolutely have a seat and we'll get your beverage and your appetizer for you. And then again, if it gets a little out of hand, come to see your supervisors and managers and we can connect with those residents and explain to them the reasoning for the meal times and everything like that. So we do want to own the experience. We want to have that positive attitude, that good proper body language, so we don't want to see anyone crossing their arms or slouching or crossing your legs or leaning against anything. Your tone of voice is very important, so we all have outside things going on. However, we want to keep that outside and still create that good, positive, memorable experience for our residents, because they pay a lot of money to be here, and so that's why we need to go above and beyond for them. And then always own the experience with the words that you use with them. So, Mr. and Mrs., have a good evening, have a good afternoon, thank you, all of those items, okay? Page 15 is talking about creating the experience, okay? So, yes.
Have the pages for stuff.
Yes, absolutely. You mind getting
Oh,
those? Okay.
You're the one missing half the pages. Hold on.
Yep, on it.
What page are we on?
15.
Here you go, it's the rest of your booklet. Sorry about that.
Okay, so we have 3 types of needs, okay? The first one is called expected needs. This is what the customer expects from the services that we provide. For example, when they get their hot food, they want it hot. When they get their cold food, they want it cold. They want to know that their service is beginning on time. So just like those meal times I showed you for the east side of campus, most of those residents know when they're supposed to start, and they'll make sure they hold you to it. And then they expect prompt and friendly service. Number 2 is an express need, and that's what our customers explicitly tell us. It's the easiest as long as we listen. So, for example, you give them coffee and they tell us their need is a creamer or 3 packs of sugar. So as long as we're listening, that's very easy for us to get. The third type of need is unexpressed. So that creates the highest level of satisfaction. So for example, it says make sure all beverage glasses are full. The rule of thumb is never let a beverage get below the halfway mark. So one question that was brought up from the east side of campus in our previous session is what about those that are on a fluid restriction? So we do have to still follow fluid restrictions. So when our dietitians tell us it's only 8 ounces for lunch or 6 ounces for dinner, that is what we have to follow. However, for all the other residents, it is a great rule of thumb to making sure the beverage is always filled, just as you would expect when you go out to eat. You don't want to drink your whole glass and then your meal comes and you have nothing to drink the rest of the time. So that's why we always need to be checking back with our residents and asking if they'd like more to drink, or if there's anything you can get for them. We also always need to observe and anticipate their needs also. So again, being aware of your surroundings. So when you're in your dining room, keep eyes on every resident. We don't want to see them waving their hands or shouting your name 10 feet away. Try and be a forward and above all of that. So other elements of a positive experience, we want to provide service safely, and that is our priority. So food safety. So we want to talk about, for example, if we were working with raw chicken or any type of raw food, we don't want to go and start working with ready to eat food. That's a food safety issue, okay? We don't want to have cross-contamination after we touch our hair and our nails and our body, trash and money, and then going to work with people's food. Again, that's a big no-no. We want to talk about workplace safety too. So examples of that, we have our black non-slip shoes while we work. If there's a wet floor, we need to have those wet floor signs up. restaurant safety. So that could be like the chairs or the tables in your dining rooms that aren't working anymore, or they have, a spill that's a safety hazard. We need to know about that stuff so we can have everything be safe for our residents and for ourselves. We need to respond to each person's style and cues. So again, you see residents looking at you, you see them, nodding or shaking their head. Try and go up to them and see what their need is so you can meet it as soon as possible. You want to personalize to their preferences. So customizing and personalizing your service is a way to make it memorable. So when you're in your areas, think about what is going to make you stand out from the previous person. What can you do for that resident today that you didn't do for them 2 days ago? What can you do? It's complimenting them, it's giving them a good story maybe. I know a lot of them like to hear about your life or love to tell you all about theirs. So that's what we want to create for them. We want to deliver service accurately, positively, and enthusiastically. So specifically, we love our cooks and our chefs in our kitchens that plate up their food. However, it may not always be right. So when you are bringing that plate out to your residents, you're that last person to double check the plates before it gets served to the residents. So you need to make sure, for example, if they are a mechanical soft diet, they're getting the ground up meat as expected. If they are small portions, you give them those small portions. It needs to be accurate. And then also along with that, on the east side of campus, we are starting daily household menus on the healthcare side. So what that means is in the healthcare households, which are Ephrata, Oregon, Manheim, Lancaster, Conestoga, we are posting breakfast, lunch, dinner, and an always available menu now. These are required by that Department of Health, Department of Human Services to be shown, and we can get violated if it's not up to date and if it's not accurate and if it's not posted. Okay, so these are getting changed every day, and if the chefs have any menu changes, I need to know about immediately so we can change it and get it changed across all dining rooms, okay? And then that last part there says deliver service with attentiveness and a sense of urgency. So adjust your pace and service delivery to the other person's needs, okay? And then the next page here, we are going to let Willie take over. Willie?
Yep, so the fond farewell is to everyone. Everyone that comes in and leaves is a fond farewell to them. But just as they come in, be careful not to be, as on the previous one, don't be too warm, because you don't want to stress out or freak out the residents. So the do's and don'ts: do smile, do hand movement, do an open stance, chin up, don't look depressed. Lean into the conversation, look intentional as if you want to be interactive with them. Don't just stand back and be 10 feet away while you're trying to take the order. And appropriate to touch if comfortable, as seen in that previous photo. Don't make the resident feel uncomfortable. Do not cross your arms. Do not look away. Do not look down or through the resident. Do not clench your hands or keep them in your pockets. Do not lean over to customers. Do not scowl. Do not give them a mean demeanor. Do not pull their chair out from under them when they're trying to sit down because it makes you laugh. Don't do that. And then the body language of the fond farewell is, somebody give us an example of body language of a fond farewell. What would you say if your resident came in, left with a fun dessert? What would you say to them?
Liliana, what would you say if that were to happen?
I hope you enjoy your dessert later.
Wonderful, I loved it. How about Jane? What would you say?
What was the question, I'm sorry?
What would your demeanor, what would you say as a fond farewell to a resident that is leaving your dining room?
Is there anything else I can get you before you turn in for the night? Or
great.
go back to your room?
Okay, wonderful. Okay, and then this very last page is page 19. So this is just kind of a quick glance of what supervisors and managers do during our shift. So we don't have necessarily a physical paper per se, however, some managers might. But when we come in, we wanna do our daily lineup. So stand-up is very important. It's at 10:15 on the east side and 4 o'clock on the east side. And then, I don't see anyone from West here at the moment.
Tammy comes.
Tammy, yeah, Tammy sometimes.
So it's around 10:45.
Yeah, 10:45, okay. So we need to all attend our stand-up meetings. We go over the menu, we go over safety concerns, anything else dining related that you need to know. Then as supervisors and managers, we're looking at all of you, making sure everyone shows up. We're checking out uniforms. Are the tables ready to go? Are the houses cleaned? Do you have everything prepared for your menu, for that meal? Is the beverage station clean? Is everything labeled and dated? Is there any issues with the POS system? So in our bistro, our garden room, our cafe, is everything working properly? And then are there any reservations or family members or guests that might be visiting? And how can we relate that all to you so you all know what to do when that happens, okay? Does anyone have any questions about anything we went over? Yes, Jane.
So you were saying that the tables are gonna be set up and gradually to all the houses?
So I wouldn't say per se this is what West is at.
Yeah.
I would say for holidays, for Cedar and Birch, this is where we want to get to. And then healthcare might be a little bit different, but we do wanna incorporate some of this. So tablecloths are very nice on holidays, special meals. I know in Cedar and Birch dining room, we do wanna start having coffee cups on the tables, and we'll let you know when that's going to happen. We wanna have water pitchers at the table with water glasses, some pretty flowers. Perhaps we wanna have small dessert spoons and forks for when they have that, little dessert. But it's an ever-changing thing. This is a 7-week training, and it's building upon each other. It's important that we all attend or watch these videos because every time it's gonna build on each other and there's gonna be new action items to come. So for example, now starting tomorrow, don't be surprised if your supervisor manager starts saying, okay, where are we serving, the plates and what side are we clearing from? And how long is it until you start greeting your residents? So within 2 minutes, 2 minutes. So this is a whole training, again, that's happening campus-wide in Landis Homes. We expect everyone to participate and show that you've learned all this training and we can do this good service for our residents, okay? So we will meet again Tuesday, either 2 to 2:45 or 3:30 to 4:15 in the second floor crossings room. Okay? Thank you, everybody.
Kara,